High above the clouds, a graceful stork carried a tiny divine bundle. Silent and serene, the sky seemed to hold its breath as a new journey began. Below, a vast forest stretched endlessly, ancient and untamed. Once, it lived in harmony. Now, unrest lingered quietly in the air. Animals argued over little things, and even those arguments ended in tears. Taking had become normal, even when it made others cry. They stood together, yet chose to look away. Not because they were born bad, but because for years, no one had guided them when they were wrong. The stork looked down and whispered, "This is the place." Gently, the stork placed the child where the forest could hold him, and flew away. The forest had not moved, but something within it had awakened. For the first time, the forest paused, drawn to a smile it had never known. The baby reached out first to the rabbit. His touch was soft. "You are gentle." He leaned close to the deer. "You are kind and graceful." The deer did not pull away. Standing before the wolf, he touched beneath its chin. "You are strong-hearted." Then he held the monkey's hand, smiling quietly. "You are clever." No one had ever spoken to them like this. "I'm new here. Will you help me find a clean place to stay?" Without meaning to, the rabbit whispered, "There is a place, near the river." No one expected guidance to come from the quiet rabbit. The deer stepped forward and knelt, unsure of its own kindness. Then, almost surprised by itself, the deer said softly, "I can carry you." No one had ever offered help before. For the first time, the forest carried someone with care. A quiet kindness stirred where none had lived before. The wolf walked ahead, clearing the way, and the others followed, unsure of what was guiding them. The monkey, surprised by its own hands, offered what it held. They looked at each other, confused by a kindness they didn't recognize. They reached the place the rabbit had spoken of, a gentle patch of land on the quiet river's shore. Without being asked, they began to help. Gentle mouths carried branches, small paws pushed stones. Others followed, not knowing why. Hands gathered leaves, wings carried feathers. The baby said nothing, yet something had already begun to change. They worked together, but their old habits spoke first. Even gentle hearts struggled to change. The baby watched quietly, waiting for the moment to guide. They created something beautiful together. For the first time, the forest grew brighter. They walked away to their own homes, as if it meant nothing. That night, sleep did not come. Thoughts they didn't understand kept them awake. They told themselves they were only checking, but their feet carried them back to the baby's home. That night, they did not leave. They stayed, without saying why. When morning came, the baby stepped outside, surprised to find them there, holding an apple, and shared all that he had. He invited them to play, and the forest did not know how to respond. Without thinking, they began to play, laughing at a joy they didn't remember learning. He could sit, he could walk, he could run, and yet, he fell. For the first time, the animals wondered, what kind of child was this? Some hearts tightened, not from fear, but from care they didn't understand. The baby laughed. The wolf froze. The bird watched, silent. Nothing was said, yet something gentle changed. When the play ended, the baby stayed behind, watching quietly. Old instincts still spoke when no one was guiding. Some took more than they needed. Others watched, unsure why it felt wrong. Some held tight to what could have been shared, not from hunger, but from habit. That night, the baby decided to test them. quietly leaving a leaf of oranges and grapes outside his home. Then he stepped inside his hut, leaving the door open and the light unlit, waiting to see what they would choose. They saw the food, and for the first time, they stopped to think. Monkey chose to give, not take. Without taking, the bear gently covered the food, and without being asked, the elephant stayed, guarding what was not his. Then, next morning, the child stood quietly, and the animals gathered around him. The child spoke softly, as if sharing a thought. When no one shows the way, hearts can turn wrong. But every heart has goodness. It only needs a chance to shine. High above the forest, the lion remained apart. He never came to see the child, strong, silent, and alone. One morning, the child turned toward the distant hill. He did not speak, but his steps were clear. Uneasy and unsure, the others followed, into a path they had never taken before. He was the one who never came, strong, proud, alone. The baby stood before him, small, steady, unafraid. For the first time, the lion did not turn away. The baby reached up and touched the lion's mane. The lion froze. Something old and heavy stirred within him. Strength remained, but the walls around his heart began to fall. The baby laughed and held on, without fear or question. The lion did not pull away. For the first time, his strength did not feel heavy, and something long guarded began to soften. The lion did not roar. He did not hide. The strongest heart in the forest allowed itself to cry. The king was no longer alone. Those who followed the child stepped closer, without fear. In the quiet forest, belonging was found. The lion spoke. I was always strong. I ruled with power, not with care. I commanded. I never guided. When they feared me, they stayed away. Later, I saw them lose harmony. But by then, I believed I was too late to change them. Love was never my way. I chose power over kindness. I always felt the urge to help, the deer admitted quietly. But I stayed silent, afraid of doing the wrong thing. When no one guides you, even kindness feels uncertain. I learned to strike first, the wolf said softly, because no one ever protected me. He paused. I didn't know how to protect until now. I laughed at others, the monkey said quietly, so no one would see how small I felt inside. I stayed quiet, the rabbit whispered. I only wanted to belong, not to be left behind. The baby spoke softly, his words gentle yet clear. Goodness lives in every heart. Guidance and care awaken it. Strength and kindness can exist together. The forest seemed to listen. Silence carried understanding, and for the first time, what was taught felt real. The lion came down from the hill, not as a ruler above them, but as one among them. He did not roar. He did not command. He simply walked forward, and the forest understood. For the first time, the forest played without fear. Laughter replaced watchfulness. Movements became lighter, softer, as if old weight had finally been set down. The child laughed with them, not leading, only belonging. The lion walked through the forest happily. A small hand reached for his mane, and for the first time, the lion laughed. High above the ground, the child rode safely, seeing the forest with wonder, and the lion with trust. And the forest bloomed in response, as if it had been waiting for kindness to lead the way. The forest became silent. All eyes turned to the lion and the child. No one spoke. They waited. The lion lowered his head and said, I will protect this child, and all of you. He is our guardian. No one argued. No one stepped back. They understood. The forest felt safe. at last. From high above, the stork watched the forest below. What was once dark now rested in quiet peace. "I left our tiny one there," the stork said softly to another bird. "Only he could awaken their hearts and change their fate." At last, the time had come for him to say goodbye. His duty was complete, and the forest was ready. As if answering a silent call, the stork returned from the sky. The forest grew still. This moment mattered. The time had come to say goodbye. Cradled in the stork's sling, the baby waited, and the forest could not hold back its tears. Higher and higher they flew, leaving behind a forest no longer lost. The mission was complete. The baby was gone, but kindness stayed, and the forest would never forget. Guidance prevents evil. One turns lost when no one shows the way. Goodness lives in every heart, waiting for care to awaken it. Kindness spreads through actions, not words alone. Even the strongest hearts can soften when met with love. And when beings play, share, and build together, harmony is born.